What's up, world? This is We Need a Fifth. This your man Mo. Got my man Hill in the building.
Yo, what up, yo?
Got my man P on the line.
What up, world? It's good.
Fellas, we're pretty well into the second round of the playoff, NBA playoffs. And I just want to say something. I think we really have to appreciate the level of basketball skill and talent that we're seeing this year and last couple of years. The NBA has put on a tremendous product as far as showcasing talent, skill, competitive desire. I haven't been disappointed. To that effect, let's talk about East Coast matchup. Classic NBA playoff matchup, actually. This has been around since what, the 90s? New York versus Miami. The series is all tied up now. 1-1. No, matter of fact, New York is
Yeah,
up.
1-1.
There's 1-1.
Oh,
It's 1-1.
1-1. 1-1. All right. They're going back to Miami. Miami was able to steal a game in New York. Julius Randle is back. Probably not totally 100%, but he's back, and they were able to squeak by a win with Miami playing without Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is anticipated to come back today for Game 3, and from all indications, it looks like he's going to be pretty healthy, if not 100%. Have you guys gotten a chance to watch this series? What do you think about this series? I'm just to start us off. I'm surprised New York was here. You guys know, I was a big Cleveland proponent. I thought that they would be a dark horse team, similar. I thought they would be scrappy like Miami's showing. I thought they would be that type of team, but just young enough not to get the job done. But
Prove me wrong.
yeah, Jalen Brunson, as good as advertised. I won't say as good as New York fans advertise him, but he's as good as reasonable basketball fans advertise him. He's a solid point guard, maybe a star in the making, considering the market, because he's been able to give them solid play, and he's a solid leader. And I think that above everything else, that's what New York needed. But I think New York is in trouble. I think that they were able just to barely squeak by a win in Game 2, and that's with Miami not having their best player on the court. I just don't see them winning this series against Miami at this point in time, especially if Jimmy Butler is close to 70 or 80%. I don't even think you need a fully 100% Jimmy Butler for Miami to beat this New York team. Am I wrong? Do you guys see something different?
There's a couple of things that I want to dissect in there. I think going back to the fact of the surprise that New York is there. I mean, then what do you feel about Miami? I mean, I have Miami not making the playoffs prior shows that we said. I don't think they were a playoff team, and they lost the first playing game. And then they found their way to come into the playoffs and then do a gentleman's sweep on the number 1 seed. So I definitely didn't have Miami here.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Knicks winning their first round series. Internally, I picked Cleveland. So to be fair, and I know that's foreshadowing. And to Jalen Brunson not being a star, I'll hold off on that on a macro level, but to New York, he is all but a superstar. You transpose any point guard on that and put him there where he is, they're not as far as they have gone. So his worth to them it's hard to quantify anywhere else because I think he's a good player. I think he will fit at any other team. But to New York, he's such a perfect fit to where he's a superstar for that team. And I don't know. I have New York winning this because I think they just have a little bit more weapons than Miami, and that's sad because I don't think Miami has any weapons. But they do have the weapon, which seems to be Weapon X and Jimmy Butler. That is where I tend to bang my head on the wall and about how good he has been in his career and what he's meant. It's similar to Chris Paulish to me with Jimmy Butler. I mean, because the level of success is both is finals. But in all the fairness, they both tend to just make the team they're with good. So, that being said, I don't know if personal bias has you not believe in New York or just the fact that they struggle without Jimmy Butler. I mean, they are coming off, like you said, sweeping Milwaukee. Gentlemen sweeping Milwaukee. So I guess they're meant to be here. So if New York loses, technically, it shouldn't be a shocker, but I don't have them losing. You know?
Yeah. I thought Cleveland was going to beat the Knicks. I thought it would be a 7-game. I thought it would be probably the second best series behind Memphis and the Lakers as far as being competitive. It's hard to pick. So I would, I'm surprised that they. Obviously I picked Cleveland, so I'm surprised that they won, but not that surprised. It was 4-5, the 4 seed against 5 seed. Far as Miami goes, both were state, I think the difference between them, Chicago, well, it's them being Miami, Chicago, and Toronto is Jimmy Butler. I don't think Miami is overly more talented than any two of those teams. They might be less talented, just that they have Butler to will them to win. And as far as Jalen Brunson goes, that's it. He wills the Knicks to win. He's that common presence. As a player, you can make the argument him and Julius Randle's pretty much talent-wise the same as far as production or what have you. But I think it's that, that intangible, okay, calm down, let's get into our offense. The stability. He provides stability to that team. And I think that's Brunson's biggest thing. And I mean, I would say he's a star, to be honest. I wouldn't go superstar, go too far with it, but there's a lot of some people may say superstars at his position. I mean, 3 to 5 of them, the season's over. You know what I mean? So you figure out who I'm talking about. But there's 3 to 5 young, talented point guards, but they're done. Jalen Brunson is still playing. So I give him credit for that.
Yeah, I think what he guarantees, unlike the other quote unquote superstar point guards that are out, they'll give you quality. And I think what Jalen Brunson gets in watching them are quality possessions. You know what I mean? So if you're going to have a value on those other guys, I think they supersede. I guess you get past the hype and fluff of it. I'll say it, John Moran and Luka Doncic. You're getting quality possessions with Jalen Brunson, whether or not he's poised enough to take the shot or get an open look for people. He has that type of like you said, common effect. To where watching the Knicks, I don't feel they have bad possessions when the ball is in his hands. I feel a little eerie when he's out sitting down, actually. I'm wondering where they're going to get a good shot from. When he's there, I don't care who takes it. Even if it's an Obi Toppin 3, even if it's a Barrett move to the hole, it seems like he always has them, just in the right state of mind. So I never thought Jalen Brunson meant that much to Dallas. I guess Dallas knew somewhat. But now it gets emphasized on a bigger scale because New York has put their faith in Jalen Brunson. And I don't know. I think the Knicks should come out of this in 6.
I think you guys are gonna really have to start putting some respect on my man Jimmy F. Butler's name, man. He's just shown up. That's all he does. And now, whether or not his team collectively is good enough to challenge for a championship, that's another question in itself. But as far as, hey, him showing up and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do my part to ensure that we win." He's always there, and we've had examples of superstars, legitimate superstars. Because I think, hey, for example, as a Lakers fan, I don't know what to expect from Anthony Davis, and I'm hoping that, hey, every other game he's going to be great, shows up in the future series that we're going to talk about. But Jimmy Butler, I don't have to worry about what he's giving me when the bright lights are on and when it matters. Uh, let's go out west. We got Denver versus Phoenix. Phoenix was able to finally get a game out of this series with a big win last night. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, I think they totaled together 87 or 89 points, if I'm not mistaken. I think Kevin Durant
46 and 39.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So, so they were able to turn it up and actually get a game. I guess my question is, and maybe I should speak on what I think first. I think that's the only game that they're going to get in this series.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep based on how Denver is playing. Now, last night, Phoenix showed me that they can turn up the notch a little bit on defense, and which I think was the major difference last night as far as, hey, pressuring Jamal Murray 90 feet, putting a body against Jokic, making it a little bit more difficult for him to get into his bag. But I felt that Denver was right there, even with them being able to turn it up a notch. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant having a out of this world game as far as scoring wise. I still felt that Denver had an opportunity to win that game last night. So with that, I'm thinking that this is a gentleman's sweep. Am I by myself in that thinking?
Yeah, I think it's going to go further than 5, personally.
Okay. Huh?
They play like last night. Yeah, I mean, it could go 7. One scary thing I did see was that they had to pull KD to the side and talk to him for a little bit. It seemed like he had a little confidence loss. In the first half, he was going like 1 for 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he had a foul, and he just seemed out of it. It's gonna be funny at the end of his career how it's gonna be looked at. You know what I mean? I saw 86 points, but watching the game, I see him still being the dominant player between the two, but him being still the Robin. Like when he was with Kate, when he was with Steph,
Mm-hmm.
I think KD was to be so dominant because he has Steph. And when he has Book is clearly to me the best 2 guard in the game. I mean, he gets it anywhere on the spot. He can post up. He's just, I don't know he had much strength either, but dude's down on the block like he was doing last night as well. Just all around game, Book is impressive. That opened up KD later in the second and third and fourth quarters to pull away. He was getting to the line, which was healthy, but it seemed like he went 1 for 7 in the first quarter. It seemed like he was just, just out of place. And Book held that load until he picked up his score. And I don't want to diminish Kev, but something has to be said in which he gets the credit for being the ultimate addition, which I get. But I think the true greatness of Kevin Durant is allowing that 1A, and I've overlooked it now to seeing which is Booker and Booker and Kyrie and Steph, and to some extent Athletic Russ, to where you see his greatness. He doesn't seem to be that guy to be the number 1 because he plays the game the right way. Every time you have it, he passes it off. He sets picks. You want that dominance to do. Like Book is from the Kobe school. Kyrie, you know what I'm saying? These are true scorers. And Kevin's like a true player, but he's better when that 1A is cooking and then he gets to play. And I mean, just those little subtleties I was watching last night, and I was like, something I have to weigh when I'm talking about Kevin Durant's career, because I thought it should have been the other way, where he should have been the dominant, and then Book should be working off of him. You know what I mean?
Definitely, because if you look at I try not to put too much into the post game interviews, but he was saying how Book is our leader. He galvanized us. We follow his lead. This is KD.
Yeah.
This is KD. You're one of the best players to ever do it, and he's kind of acquiescing to Devin Booker. But yeah, I guess in a way people want him to be the alpha or whatever. But at the same time, like you said, you can't give him credit for saying, "No, I came here. Devin Booker's playing out of his mind. I'm helping him." Right? So, if it's truly it's a team sport. You want everybody to be a team player.
Right.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
run his whole career. So, to your point, he's not the alpha male in the room. He's not. But maybe he doesn't need to be. Maybe
right.
You have to realize what he is and work with it, and you could be successful in him being the second guy, or even if he's the most talented, following somebody else's lead, not being the leader. You know what I mean? And that you saw that last night. And it worked out.
Anybody else surprised that Phoenix is not running more pick and roll actions with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, or KD, Booker, and Ayton? Any combination of the two. You know what I mean?
I think they would have done it more with Chris Paul. That's kind of his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that, KD and Devin Booker are definitely capable of running pick and rolls, but I think that's a Chris Paul thing. Like, because he, him and Tyson Chandler, like that was like pretty effective back in the day. So
Book does well off the pick and roll too. He runs.
Yeah, they definitely. I think. Yeah. But
I'm just surprised that they're not involving Ayton in that action, or Kevin Durant and Book in direct pick and roll actions where, hey, get a favorable matchup or force the defense to have to switch, or get uncomfortable in some type of way. Especially if Joker is going to be D'ing up Ayton. Why aren't you running that high pick and roll and have Ayton dive hard? To the basket.
That's a great point, because you make Joker play defense and you get Ayton involved. And you get Ayton involved. So yeah. I know, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And that speaks to a conversation we were having off air the other day about maybe we need to really look at Monty Williams as a coach. What is he actually doing out in Phoenix? And maybe that needs to be a discussion, especially considering the level of talent that he has on his roster and what they're doing.
Yeah, either that or we just overvalue DeAndre Ayton.
Could be a little both.
He sees him every day. You know what I'm saying? He sees him every day. So,
fellas, let's go back to the East. The final matchup in the East: Philadelphia versus Boston. Mr. Embiid received his MVP award last night, and then Boston Celtics proceeded to say, "You're welcome. Let's take this L with that." We gave him the L in Philly. Everybody was expecting a big game from Embiid, and I think he gave you a pretty big game.
I mean, 30 and 10, right? Maybe 30 and 10.
Yeah, I think it was like 30 and 12 or 30 and 13, couple of blocks, stuff like that. He had a solid, performance. His partner in crime, not so much. I don't know what's I don't know what's happening with James Harden. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. And
we'll get to him, but this is looking like him and AD is having the same playoffs at this point. Showing us flashes of how great, not even good, how great they could be at times. Then they disappear. So, he stunk it up last night. I don't, whatever the politically correct way to say it, I'm not interested in saying it that way. He stunk it up. You know what I mean? That's not to say he won't come back the next game and score 30 or 40. You know what I mean? But it's just he's his whole career he's been an inconsistent player, postseason player. You know what I mean? So as talented and as good and as capable as James Harden is, last night game didn't surprise me. I don't think it should surprise anyone.
You know what? I'm gonna admit, Pete, I was a little surprised. I started sipping on the Kool-Aid from that 45-point game.
And you're surprised that James Harden had a bad play game?
No, what? I was sipping on the Kool-Aid, and I was thinking, you know what? If Embiid is back, maybe he doesn't have to be a scorer. Like, I wasn't expecting another 40-point performance, but I was expecting maybe a 20-10 night, something like that, where okay, this is respectable Robin to the Batman, back in Gotham and receiving the MVP award. But I didn't get that, James Harden.
But to his point, I don't blame him. I mean, I think if Embiid clogs the lane, I just don't think they work. I think you get James Harden the way you get James Harden if Embiid is off the team. It's just that simple. Exactly. I don't think they work together.
Wow.
I think James Harden, to get the James Harden that you want, he would have to go. And or have his own type of team, in which you have something at the most a Clint Capella. Something that can complement just with defense and just float into the hoop and lobbing. And he's not doing that. He wants the ball when he wants the ball. And I think it throws an offensive player out of whack when you give a ball to someone who's 7 foot, who's at the top of the key, just like you, and then you're not able to move and go into your flow of offense. So from looking outside looking in, it doesn't seem like a good fit. As much as they try to fix it, you have two great players. It's just not going to work.
And that's kind of, to me, one of the things that separates, obviously championships, like really good from great. I feel like if you put great players together, they can figure it out. So when you put them together and they don't figure out, I'm looking at them like somebody's not great. But everybody's not great. So, and Boston's a better team, by the way. Like people are like, if Philly loses, what happens? I expected them to lose in the second round, no matter what, because I figured they were going to go against Milwaukee or Boston, and I think both teams were better than Philly. So,
but if you look at individual success, if you put these two great players together and depending on how far they gotten, I mean, just by logic, it looks like Joel Embiid's not great. I mean, one's got further than the other.
Yeah, to be honest, and I think James Harden is one of the best scorers ever. I'm an Embiid guy, whatever. I don't think either one of them are great. I think you got two really good plays together, and they got you to the second round. And I feel like I'm not trying to knock them or tear them down, because I think they're awesome players. I like them, but the results are the results.
I don't think it's going to work. I just don't think they can,
I don't think I don't think you're wrong.
And let me throw a little something else into this conversation.
Excuse me.
Have we over-evaluated Doc Rivers' effectiveness as a coach?
Ooh,
if you have really good players and you're not able to figure it out, especially when you have really good players that are front court and back court, they're not even in the same.
But
same
to be
line.
fair, the style of play, you know what I mean? Embiid is a center, Harden is a point guard, but like Hill said earlier, Embiid is outside the paint a lot.
Okay, and I'll play devil's advocate to that statement in the sense that shouldn't Doc Rivers be telling Embiid, "Hey, we want to start our offense with you down in the paint. Go."
Yeah, I gave up on that. I said that 2 years ago. I gave up on that. Yeah, if you want to take points from Doc Rivers for not consistently posting up Joel Embiid, go ahead. So I don't even understand it. I know the current state of the NBA, it's positionless basketball, but it's almost like common sense, bro. Like, if you're 7 feet tall, your advantage is when you're in the paint.
Let me ask you guys this. think it's a responsibility of a good player, especially someone who's has veteran experience like James Harden. Hey, I've been an MVP. I've gone to the conference finals. Um, do you think he has a responsibility to like direct Joel Embiid? Like during the game last night, I saw at one point he passed the ball to Harden, and I think Horford is on Harden. He has switched off, and Joel Embiid is saying, "Hey, go, attack. You know, take it." And do you think Harden should at least do the same thing with Joel Embiid? Like, hey, get down, get low, or hey, let's start. You know,
I don't think he can because it's not his team, and he doesn't have anything to give currency that he can make that type of call. What is Harden prove to say that he can tell him to do as such? I think if this is Kobe or some people who have done it, you know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, Harden hasn't accomplished anything except just maybe a little bit more success to Joel Embiid. So to me, that's Joel Embiid's team. I don't think there's anyone that can tell Joel Embiid what to do on that team, to be fair.
It would have to be like Kobe or LeBron, and they're not even to me not those type of players, especially Kobe as far as playmaking. He would be like, okay, you want to play around up here, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I think that's just IQ. You know what I mean? I think this whole topic we're foreshadowing to what we're going to get into, but I think that's basketball IQ, where as talented as James Harden is, he doesn't impact winning in that way. He more impacts winning because of his talent. You know what I mean? Not because of his leadership.
Okay.
So I think you need a strong leader, a la Magic Johnson, maybe even LeBron, a Chris Paul, where, okay, I'm gonna have a talk with you. I need you in the paint more. That's our best way to win. And I think James Harden is like, okay, you don't want to be in the paint that much. We'll figure it out. No, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't, and like you said, I don't know if he could tell Joel Embiid what to do.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he would even suggest. There's ways of doing it without, trying to, bogart him, but I don't think Harden's that type of player where he's going to, I just don't think he's that type of leader.
Yeah, it looks like, and it looks like James is on eggshells too, knowing that the city loves Joel, and any type of mistakes or success that they have is going to coincide with James Harden and not Joel Embiid. He's Philly's son. They're expecting James to put them over. I don't think that it's going to happen. I think Joel has a lot of diva in him, as opposed to dog, and I don't think that'll translate into them going far. I mean, the guy missed shots last night, but he's a heck of a talent. But I don't think he's comfortable in missing shots. Like that type of game that Harden had, I've seen all the time in Houston, and then the next time in Houston, he'll come back that night and beat Golden State with Steph, Clay, and Durant by himself, and he'll drop like 39 points and everything. I don't think he has that freedom to do as such. I think it's just success looking in Philly to win. And I think it's just a lot of pressure. And that you can be right. And that's what makes them probably just really, really good players, as opposed to being great because they can't, make it happen together. They have the talent, just them two. I mean, I don't see too much talent between them two and Book and Durant. I mean, but the whole thing is acquiescing to each other, saying like, "Listen, you can make a mistake, and you can do this." It just seems so tense with Philly, with the city just being a tense city in general. And I mean, those two guys playing, they want answers, but they're gonna find the same type. Boston is gonna knock them out because they don't have that. You see, Boston just plays free. It's that Jaylen Brown and Tatum. It's just as many shots as they could put up. You don't feel that there's pressure between them. There's no bad shots. The ball's free. There's no argument over mistakes. They found a way to play together, and you don't see that. I mean, you even see Maxey getting that Harden at times, and I like Maxey, but Maxey has done nothing to actually be able to get in the face of James Harden. But it's just the type of thing that's there, and it's a lot of tension in Philadelphia. They're going to have a lot more because they should be ousted in maybe 6 games.
All right. So I'm assuming that you have Boston winning this series.
Boston in the finals. I think I have to make that very clear every time we say Boston in the finals, in the NBA finals.
Okay, P. I'm assuming you have Boston winning this series.
Once Milwaukee went down, I thought it turned to the Eastern Conference turned to the Celtic Invitation.
There you go. I agree. Our last matchup out west, LA Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors. Ooh. The series is tied up 1-1 right now. Golden State drubbed the Lakers by what? I think it was 30.
Yeah, 27.
The last game. Anthony Davis did not provide another stellar performance. I believe he scored 11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, I believe. Kevon Looney, who only played 11 minutes, 44 seconds, out-rebounded the entire Lakers squad. There was nobody in the Lakers uniform that got more rebounds than Kevon Looney. And you're wondering how many rebounds did Looney get? 8. 8. That's how many rebounds he got. And he out-rebounded the entire Lakers squad. I don't know what to think. I want to believe that, hey, every other game, and since he started on the first game, we should get this in 7, LA Lakers. But I'm really having a hard time trusting Anthony Davis. And I'm afraid every time somebody breathes on him that he's going to be injured. And I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Am I bugging, or should I just calm down and just enjoy the series?
Definitely enjoy the series.
And I'm worried about Lakers being able to adjust to Golden State. Golden State went small last game and was able to punch him in the mouth early and keep him down on the ground. I don't see why. I just don't understand this series right now, man. With Anthony Davis, that's the crux of my dilemma right now. It's like I don't know what to expect from Anthony Davis. Like right now, I'm expecting. Hopefully, he's going to get back to 20 and 10 guy. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Like I'm expecting he's going to have a good game because he's pissed now that he had a bad game and everybody talked about him like he doesn't have talent. And nobody's ever said that Anthony Davis doesn't have talent. We just said he's not available. So, am I bugging? What's going on? Hill, you're a Lakers fan. You feel my pain, right? Am I wrong?
Well, just going by Anthony Davis's clock, I would say you're set to have a good 29 and 16 game for him today, going every other game. And going by that logic, you should win game 7. I think these teams are pretty much even killed. Okay. And that's all due respect to LeBron James being in his 20th season. I think they're even killed. I think Golden State is real top heavy. I think that once you pan it out, Lakers have a really good team from 1 through 12. Like I said in the Phoenix series, you take out Book and you take out KD, and then Okogie and Ayton has to show me what they have to do. They're making adjustments. Darvin Ham should be telling me that Andrew Wiggins is going to win game 3. You're going to allow keep being Steph being a facilitator, take him from getting off these picks in these threes. You don't want Steph shooting. Steph being a facilitator, that's fine. I'll live with 20 and 12 with Steph any day. And you take Clay out the game, Andrew Wiggins has to win game 3 for me. That's the adjustment I want the Lakers to do to win game 3. And LeBron James of 2015 and 2016 as a Laker fan, I have to understand it's not coming through that door. He's showing me spurts, but he seems more comfortable with that jump shot as opposed to bully ball for 38 minutes. I would prefer just straight bully ball and getting people in foul trouble. But he's in his 20th year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can only expect what the body is going to allow me to, get from the Lakers. But I think that's the key. I think if you have LeBron down there and AD down there, picking on a 6'7", 6'8", luckily Draymond Green, and getting him into foul trouble and cutting the head off from their defensive standpoint with him being out and having to deal with the others, I think that is the recipe for the Lakers to win this series.
But Anthony Davis has to be the best player on the court for the Lakers, right? That's without a question.
No question. It can't be LeBron. It just can't. I mean, LeBron has averaged certain games during the season. LeBron gave me 39. He's gave me 36, and they lost. I mean, he gave me 39 points to Memphis, and they got blown out the doors. You don't want him giving you that type of effort. 9 times out of 10, if LeBron's giving you over 30 and AD's not with him, if he's with him with 30s, yeah, no, that's what you want. But if AD's not there, then no, the Lakers have lost, clearly. So them days of seeing him as that guy, you don't want to see that. You want that for all AD. Or there, you have no one that could stop him. I'm sorry, that's. I don't know, AD.
Yeah, it's tough because I think LeBron obviously is capable of being the best player, and you really don't. And I said this before the playoffs started. You don't want to have to count on AD, but you're going to have to count on AD.
Yeah,
because what we saw in Game 1 is what I recall seeing him with the Pelicans. It's not, to your point, we were talking about Jimmy Butler. It's just not offense. I'll take the 30. I'm sure Lakers fans will take the 30. But the rebounding and the defense, he impacts the game. You know what I mean? There's times guys will score 30, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know he had 30. It was so, uneventful.
Anthony Towns, cat.
Right. But I think what AD makes him, in my opinion, a special talent, a potentially great player, is the defensive side of the ball, where he's just kind of control the game.
Yeah.
Gives you 30. I mean, it's simple basketball. It's like you playing one-on-one, simple basketball. I'm going to score, and I'm going to stop you from scoring. At its rudimentary, that's basketball. And he could do that and impact that pretty much more than anybody in the league, to be honest. So, yeah, you have to depend on AD. And I believe, although AD has to be a best player, I think LeBron has to be at least your third best player on the court. So I think if Clay is the third best player in the court, Golden State might have it. Clay looks healthy out there. He looks like he's back. Like, I've seen Clay dribble now. Like, I just don't recall him dribbling whatever you would say his prime is. Like, he looks like he's in playoff mode for real.
And his offense is taking Reeves out of his offense is killing Reeves' offense. He's chasing Clay all around. And now Reeves is not fluid anymore in his own offensive set. So now you're taking him out the game mentally is a double dosage with Clay and taking his confidence too. We're not kids anymore. I said we're not kids anymore, and I have to piggyback off of you, P, and just realizing it. I used to think of myself like 11, 12 defensive rebounds. Whoop-de-doo. I just overlooked it. But it's important for AD to get those 11 and 12 defensive rebounds because you're stopping possessions and a high-powered offensive team as Golden State. They can't get second chance points. And that's what it looked like in Game 1. They just weren't getting any, which Caban was getting. Like, three-point shots are usually the brick's going to come back hard, pause. So he's able to stop those second chance, shots, which Golden State is known for killing people and killing momentum off of a brick shot and just demoralizing you, which led to Game 2, which they got. So it's incumbent on AD, which might be all of them with group rebounding. Maybe LeBron got to get in there and give you 12 rebounds and Gabriel or whoever. I mean, guys got a board. I mean, this team can't get second chance shots. I mean, if not, Golden State will run you off the floor.
All right. Hey, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you guys think. Do you like our picks for the playoffs, the second round of the playoffs? Hit us up on social media. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button to let you know when the next video coming out. Hit that like button for this video as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to this podcast. You can also hit us up directly at weneedafifth@gmail.com. We talked about LA Golden State, and it's kind of a perfect segue into this next topic I want to talk with you guys about. There's a lot of discussion, especially with Golden State making another playoff run, about Steph Curry and where do we put him in the history of NBA basketball as far as greatest point guards of all time. Some are saying that there's an argument to be said for Steph Curry being the greatest point guard of all time at this point, especially if he's able to secure a fifth championship ring. Some are arguing that not so fast. There's a guy in Lakers history, Magic Johnson, who revolutionized the game, saved NBA basketball as we know it. That should be considered one of the greatest point guards of all time, if not the greatest point guard.
Yeah, who is? Who is?
Yeah. I think it might be consensus. Yeah,
he is the greatest point guard.
Oh, okay. So that's where you guys stand with it?
You're saying who might be considered. No, he is right now the greatest point guard.
Okay.
If this man gets 5, he'll have a better record in the finals as Magic Johnson. So that's 1. He'll average more. That's 2. He's a better shooter. It's 3. I mean, I wouldn't have it close if he wins the 5th. That he's the best point guard to ever do it. Okay. I mean, now we're talking in the paramounts of he's just a better player than Magic Johnson, which I never thought I would be able to say.
Pete, where are you at?
I think. Well, first of all, he has to win his 5th. Like,
absolutely,
I can't put him over Magic now.
No.
I guess to be fair to Steph, like if he wins his 5th and you tell me Steph is better, that's what you say. That's what it's tough to argue that. But for me, it's almost like, I guess, growing up on pretty much learning basketball, watching Lakers vs Celtics, Magic Johnson, he might have to win another one. I know it's like, it's almost like boxing. I feel like you're going to have to knock out the champion. I'm not giving you the decision. You know what I mean? Right. But to Steph's credit, if he wins 5, I mean, there's a lot of discussions to be had. I mean, he's there with like everybody. Like you could miss, he might be a top 5 player of all time with this 5th championship.
Right. If he wins 6 and he's 6'3",
then we're doing GOAT talk.
Correct. I mean, if you win 6, you done pushed out LeBron for me. You pushed out LeBron for me.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like I was already on this last year, but I'm really appreciating Steph Curry. He's great. He's great. One of the greatest basketball players I've ever. Well, he's top 10 that I've seen with my own eyes. That's not right. Easy. But he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He very may well be the best basketball player on the planet right now. Right. I know people like to go Giannis, Joker. It's this thing, like they just don't want to give it to him for whatever the reason. I don't know. I feel like whoever you think is the best basketball player right now, I think I have a very strong argument saying Steph is better than him.
Hey, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think. Is Steph Curry the greatest point guard of all time, or does he still have some work to do? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. And you can also hit us up directly at weneedthefifth@gmail.com. Getting back to the NBA, NBA coaching carousel. We had some major firings
And
over the
hirings.
post and some hiring. Most notable, and in my opinion, well overdue, Coach Bud from Milwaukee Bucks has finally been fired. I know I'm probably the only one that thought he should have been fired years ago, probably after year one for me. But that's neither here nor there. People say people wanted Chip, keep him around. You know, I don't know. Yeah, where are you guys at with Coach Bud, man? I know I'm not. Yeah, it's not that I'm happy to see anybody fired.
Right.
It's just that I didn't think he was the right guy for that job.
Are you not happy though, Mo? But go ahead.
Yeah, right.
The smile on your face makes it seem like you're happy, but okay.
Yeah, right. It does. Upset with it? No, not at all. I didn't think he was a good coach by any means, but in being fair, it does seem knee jerk. I mean, I might feel like I'm waffling. It just feels like we got knocked out. We expect to go any further, and one of the owners said, I was probably frustrated. Instead of thinking it over, saying, "Listen, just sudden reaction. I want him out. I can't get rid of Giannis." So the people just frustration, new breath of fresh air. I want him out. I don't know if it was thought out. Guy has a good record, very good record in Milwaukee. He could have stood for another year, but he's out.
P?
It just dawned on me. Yeah, I don't think he deserves to be fired. But in the last 4 championships, there's only one coach remaining.
Okay.
2019, Nurse, out of here.
Yeah.
220, Vogel, out of here. Right. 221, Coach Bud, out of here. That doesn't seem crazy to y'all? That's like 3 out of the 4 champions are on the unemployment line right now.
Because the guy last year is who they want the barrier. That's the barometer you want. You want those coaches to be consistently winners like Steve Kerr. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. It's not realistic. But that's what they want.
Or some might argue that those coaches that you named, because they had the talent that won in spite of their coaching.
No.
Okay, but
like I felt that was Coach Bud. Like Giannis, that's why Giannis for me was like I hyped him up so much now because you want a chip in spite of bad coaching.
Okay, so Jason Kidd's a bad coach then, because he was there with Giannis and he didn't win.
I mean, that's before Giannis became Giannis. Like he was developing Giannis. He is developing Giannis. Jason Kidd had him playing point guard for God's sakes.
So is Luka? And Jason Kidd, sorry, but what do you want me to do?
That's the way you at with it, P. We got to come for Jason.
So Jason Kidd doesn't make the playoffs. He keeps his job. Gets to the second round conference final. He keeps his job. These dudes win championships and get fired. This is nonsensical to me.
We like Jason Kidd.
Yeah,
I like Jason.
We like Jason Kidd.
I think he's a good coach.
We like Jason Kidd.
Yeah, and I don't even like particularly, Vogel. I guess he never did nothing to me, but damn, you won a championship. Yeah. So you can't tell me they won despite Vogel, because once he got fired, they haven't won since. Don't lose this series. So how is it Vogel's fault? Because the only common denominators would be LeBron and AD.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And I think I'm pretty fair with it. I don't put too much in the coaching. I blame the players when the players lose. And I give the players credit when like Giannis won that championship and Giannis lost in the first round this year.
Right.
Coach Bud was there. And I'm not saying he's the greatest tactician ever, but
and that's my thing, Fee, is
good enough.
You paying him millions of dollars to be a tactician, to be a strategist, and that's your only job. And I don't see any strategy. I don't see any tactics besides, hey, fellas, play hard.
I think
that's what I felt like I was seeing with Coach Bud. Like, all right, fellas, play hard, and when you get a chance, give it to Giannis.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah, I like being on the school of not resting on laurels, though. I enjoy it. I like the fact that boom, they won a chip, and for quote unquote, your ass is still on the hot seat for the next 3 years. I like it. I just think that it brings out the best. And then when you fall, and those players that you're dealing with tend to regress because they, in quote unquote, are resting on their laurels for having a chip. I think you should be removed. Sure. I think there's a level of consistency, which he has showed in winning, which counteracts my argument, which means he should stay.
69% of his games.
Correct. That's enough to stay. However, as an in-game coach watching them, unfortunately, they get aired on TNT. He never seems to know where he is at in the game scenarios. And it's so frustrating. And maybe it's just personnel. He doesn't have it. Because I agree with that too as well. He's playing with the best that he has. I don't think Middleton's that guy. I think Giannis regressed. I think Drew Holiday didn't have a good year this year. I don't think they have the personnel to make it work. So for those, he should get some credit for that, for pulling the wins that he did in the regular season enough to keep his job. Because I don't think Milwaukee's talented that it's a terrible mix they have over there. I don't think they have the talent which substantiates their wins, and I don't think he's a good coach. But they put it together and they show success. So why get rid of it?
So yeah, so really it's perception.
Absolutely.
Because if we're going, keeping you in a hot seat, you have to win year by year by year. Going by that logic, although he's a tactician, and I agree that he is, he's probably a better coach. So, and again, this is perception. Coach Spo should have been out of here by now. Then
absolutely,
because Coach Bud has won more recently than Coach Spo.
Absolutely.
But know what the problem is with that? We actually watch the games, get to see the coaches in action, and when you watch the games, you don't get the same confidence or feeling of, hey, that's a coach that knows what's going on and what he wants his team to accomplish. He just doesn't have the talent to get it accomplished. That's what I feel with Eric Spoelstra. Like, hey, that's a coach that knows what he's doing. He has a tactic. He has a strategy in mind. He has a philosophy that he's in mind. His players know what he wants. Now, it's whether or not he has the talented players to actually accomplish the goal. With Coach Bud, it was like, hey, you have the talent. I don't see any strategy. I don't see any tactics. And to your point, Hill, and your best player, who's arguably in the top 3 of all current NBA players, as far as being able to dominate the game or take over a game, and he's regressing, to Hill's point. And it's like, all right, come on.
I mean, to be fair, Coach Spoelstra has a lot of currency on the 3 championships that he has. 3? Yeah, 3, right?
Yeah, more than one.
In which I took credit away from him, thinking I think he did a lot of his best coaching prior to that and after that. Because I think those LeBron years I scratch off because I just think they just had some more talent just put on one team. And they shouldn't have lost. I don't give them that much credit doing those championship teams with them. So that's to say, when he has an abundance of talent, I overlook it. And I think that's what everyone. I don't know. But it's mainly like you said, it could be aesthetics with me. I mean, I watch him. I think he's for lack of a better term, a horrible, horrible in-game coach. I think bad time management, bad personnel changes. It just doesn't make sense. But warrant him being fired? Maybe not.
I'm not done. 2000, what was that, 14? What's the last time the Spurs won?
11, 12?
Okay. But Pop is still in the building. I'm just saying. It's
5 championships. That's
bank,
the difference between you got me 1 championship. You got me 5.
Right, but look, Pop won.
You got me 5.
Pop won in '99, right? According to how they're doing things, he would have made it to 2003 to win the second championship. This is the math. If Milwaukee ownership did the same thing, if the San Antonio ownership did the same thing that Milwaukee did on the same timeline, Pop wouldn't have made it to 2003 to win his second championship.
But I think that just illustrates that Pop is a better coach, Pete.
No, it illustrates he had more chances.
He's a better coach, Pete.
No, and I'm not saying Coach Bud is better than any of these coaches I'm naming. I'm just saying he's not being afforded the same opportunity to come back after you lose whatever round. You know what I'm saying?
But like that could be the owner. Like I said, that could be an owner's herky jerky mode. Now anybody probably had a bad day and decided, hey, listen, when the #1 seed we got gentleman swept. Emotion played into it. I got to give it to somebody. You know what I mean? As opposed to rationally thinking out why, they should have retained them.
Let's talk about a coach that got hired. Houston Rockets hired Ime Udoka. What do we think about that coaching hire?
I think he wanted to get back into the ecosystem of coaching. He took whatever was afforded to him. I think he rushed it. And he took Houston unless he feels that he's going to get Wembanyama, which they have a good chance of getting. That's the only reason why he would take that job. The Houston job is a bad job.
Pete, what are your thoughts?
I don't know how many opportunities he had. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say he had other opportunities but Houston? So if he wants to get back into coaching, and it's like it depends on how many opportunities he had. But yeah, like I said, if they could land a #1 pick, jeez, he might have upgraded.
Yeah.
All right. Hit us up. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think Coach Bud and Coach Nurse deserve to be fired? Do you think Ime Udoka made a mistake taking the Houston Rockets job? Hit us up on social media. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button so you know when the next video is coming out. Also, hit that like button as well. You can also subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. And you can hit us up directly at weneedafifth@gmail.com.